are Edward Sharpe and the Magnetic Zeros.
Alabama, Arkansas, I do love my mom and pop, not the way that I do love you.
The first album was based on almost all demos, you know, that I had made. Sort of, we would get called in, like we would call people in, we need bass, we need this, we need that. We weren't really a band in the first album.
Well, hot and heavy, pumpkin pie, chocolate candy, Jesus Christ, ain't nothing please me more than you. Oh, let me go home. Home is wherever I'm with you.
The ensemble was formed through the process of making the first record, whereas the second record, we had all, you know, come together to make that first record, and it's time to go out on the road, all getting to know each other better and better through the process. And I guess however many years later, 3 years later, or I don't know how long it was between the first record, making the first record and the second record, I guess 3 years about. You know, we had a lot of experiences, and you know, the collaboration was on a different level going into the second record.
Here, it wasn't based on a bunch of demos or anything. This was more like everyone brought ideas, more or less, and sometimes full songs, but they weren't like we were imitating, you know, demos or anything. In fact, when there was a demo situation, which was Man on Fire, we just used that and built off of that instead of trying to recreate that. So it was a much more collaborative effort, and we all really sat there and worked out arrangements and took the time to be present. Here represents a lot of what we came to as a band after becoming a band over the last bunch of years and playing these side things, these acoustic sort of things, and playing in the bus or whatever it was. And so I think here represents like some of that experience and some of that longing to sort of have songs speak as opposed to be riddled with mouths, you know?
Love is our shelter, love is our cause, love goes on forever, yeah, love will lead us on. Love it is our honor, love it is our all, love goes on forever, yeah, love it is our home.
I don't think it was the easiest decision after 3 years of touring and all that to be like, okay, now we're gonna not be home again and go make an album together and do this all together. And yet finding that, you know, that power within all of ourselves to do that, to me is that's the most gratifying part of it, is that we did it together.
Oh, I've been sleeping for 40 days, yeah, I know I'm sleeping, 'cause this dream's too amazing.
The communal sensibility, you know, which seems to just emanate from this big sound and all of us jumping around on stage. No matter where you come from or what the demographic you fall into, the sense of community is something that we all want.
It feels a little less like an actual show to me, where you're going to a show and having a bunch of people perform for you or performing for a group of people that are just watching you. There's a lot of sharing, and something that it's almost like a party that everybody's invited to.
You can see it, you know, go see a band and cross your arms, and then by the end of the show, they're like loosened up, they're dancing around. That's like the best, because that means you've actually, you know, connected with them.
We often have a lot of people come and dance on stage, and there's been times when the whole stage has been filled with audience members.
Oh, well, Nathaniel, this amazing fiddler, he, what is it? He like stage dived or something?
No,
he got, like,
people carried him up to
he
the
floated
stage
up
with his violin.
And he just started ripping, and then he came and played a couple songs on this record.
Yeah, it's hard to know exactly why it happens. You see these older people in the audience, and you know they've been to hundreds of shows, or, you know, and they've witnessed like amazing music. And there they are, like, you know, having a really good time and watching your show and watching you play music and listening. And you do wonder, like, I wonder why they're there while I'm singing to them. Like, why are you here, you know? And it's so cool that you're here, you know?